You've pictured it 1,000 times. You close your eyes, feel the emotion, imagine the future, and yet nothing really shifts. Or maybe it does briefly. A spark, a sign, a moment of alignment. And then you slip right back into the same loop, the same thoughts, the same reality. If you've ever wondered why your vision feels powerful but your life doesn't move with it, here's the truth. Visualization doesn't manifest reality. Frequency does. There's a quantum difference between imagining a future and broadcasting it. Between seeing what you want and becoming the version of yourself who already occupies that reality in the field. Visualization is only a tiny piece of the process. The real engine, the hidden mechanism, is your frequency. And unless your frequency matches the reality you're trying to call in, it will always hover just out of reach, no matter how vividly you picture it. You've been told to ask, believe, receive. But the quantum field doesn't respond to requests. It responds to coherence, to your inner alignment, to the energetic signature you carry every moment of the day. Not the signal you project in meditation. The signal you live in your breath, your choices, your emotional baseline. Because the universe isn't responding to what you say. It's responding to what you are. That's the code. And once you understand it, once you feel how subtle the shift truly is, everything begins to reconfigure. Not because you try harder. Not because you think more positively. But because you stop chasing. You stop asking. You stop reinforcing the idea that your dream life is somewhere far away. And instead, you start treating it like a frequency you can step into now. This frequency, the one that unlocks the reality you've been visualizing, isn't theoretical or mystical. It's vibrational. It has its own texture, a calm certainty, a grounded rhythm. It doesn't rush. It doesn't crave. It doesn't wonder when things will shift. It already knows. Because when you embody the identity of someone who has already received, the field reorganizes itself around you. It has to. So why does this shift feel so hard? Why is it so effortless to visualize something beautiful, but so challenging to sustain the energy of already mine? Because your entire past has conditioned you to vibrate in the frequency of not yet. You were taught to wait, to earn, to prepare, to prove yourself, to deserve. And now, for the first time, you're being asked to drop all of that and inhabit a reality that once felt distant. At first, it feels unnatural. It feels like pretending. It feels like telling yourself a story your body hasn't caught up to yet. But that uncomfortable feeling, that's the moment you're stepping out of your old frequency and into the one where your future already exists. But that's only because your nervous system hasn't caught up to your truth. Because this frequency we're stepping into isn't new to your soul, it's just unfamiliar to your body. And part of this journey is teaching your body what your soul already knows. You're not chasing your future, you're remembering your alignment with it. You might be thinking, but how do I stay in that frequency when nothing around me has changed yet? The answer is, you become the change first. You decide that your vibration leads and the evidence follows. You shift your focus from what's missing to what's already here, from what you want to what you are. And as you do that day after day, a new energy takes root. One that doesn't collapse under pressure. One that doesn't dissolve when the world gets loud again. It becomes your baseline. And that's when the field begins to bend toward you, not because you forced it, but because you finally matched it. This is what we're going to explore in this video. Not just the idea of manifestation, but the frequency that actually unlocks the life you've been visualizing. We'll talk about how to shift out of the cycle of lack and into the vibration of embodiment. How to act as if, without faking it. How to move like it's already yours, not because you're trying to impress the universe, but because you're finally living in harmony with it. Because there is a code, a precise energetic rhythm. And once you learn how to tune into it, everything around you starts to respond, gently, powerfully, and consistently. Are you ready to remember what it feels like to be a match for the reality you've always seen in your heart? Then let's begin. Let's make something clear right now. The quantum field doesn't care about what you want. It responds to what you are. It doesn't decode your vision board. It doesn't weigh your intentions or count how many affirmations you repeat. It simply mirrors the frequency you're broadcasting. And that frequency isn't coming from your goals. It's coming from your identity, not the identity you talk about, but the one you live from. The one that shapes how you walk into a room, how you react to silence, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. Because in the quantum world, reality isn't something you get. It's something you generate from the inside out. So what does this mean in real life? It means if you visualize abundance but live in fear of spending, your field is receiving fear. If you visualize love but reject compliments or push intimacy away, your field is registering resistance. If you visualize expansion but speak about your life as if you're stuck, your field believes you. Because the field doesn't interpret your dreams, it reads your coherence. This is why so many people feel frustrated on the manifestation path. They're doing everything right, meditating, journaling, scripting, visualizing, and still nothing lands. Why? Because their thoughts and emotions aren't aligned. They're trying to manifest from the mind while the body is still signaling fear, unworthiness, or survival mode. The result? Mixed signals, and the quantum field mirrors that static. Now here where the shift happens. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions say the same thing, the field has no choice but to reflect that back. This is called coherence, and in that state, your frequency becomes stable, strong, magnetic. That's when reality starts to rearrange itself. Think about it this way. Desire without identity is just noise. But when your identity and your desire merge, your signal becomes pure. And the field doesn't respond to desire, it responds to certainty. So how do we step into that certainty, especially when there's no evidence yet? You create the evidence. Not outside you, within you. You begin showing up as the version of yourself that already lives the reality you've been visualizing. You stop waiting to feel successful and start dressing, speaking, walking like someone who is, not because you're faking it, but because you're remembering who you actually are beneath the doubt. Neville Goddard called this living from the end. Joe Dispenza calls it firing and wiring new patterns in your brain and body. Greg Braden refers to it as emotional coherence. But the essence is the same. You stop trying to become and start being. That's the quantum frequency we're talking about. It's not something you chase. It's something you choose to inhabit again and again until your nervous system gets used to it, until your self-talk stops sabotaging it, until it becomes so natural you can't even remember what it felt like to vibrate in lack. And yes, it takes courage, because stepping into that version of yourself before the world reflects it back can feel lonely, disorienting, and even fake at first. But that's just your past identity trying to protect its place in your energy field. Let it be there. Acknowledge it, but don't let it drive. You're the signal now. You become the calibration point. You become the source of the shift, not the result of it. You become the reality. This isn't about faking confidence. It's about finding the frequency of already being and living from that. It's about training your system to feel safe in the space of enough. Because when your subconscious feels safe, your energy expands. And when your energy expands, the field responds. So if you've been trying, forcing, looping, let that go. You're not here to work harder for your dreams. You're here to recognize that the version of you who already lives them isn't far away. It's just on a different frequency, a more stable one, a more embodied one. And that version, it already knows how to move, speak, decide, and feel like it's done. Because for them, it is. Let's go meet them. We've reached the part that most people misunderstand, and it's where everything truly shifts, acting as if. Those two words have been misunderstood, oversimplified, even mocked. Because on the surface, they sound like pretending, like forcing, like you're putting on a costume and hoping the universe buys it. But in truth, acting as if is not pretending, it's frequency training. When you act as if it's already yours, you are aligning your body with your desired signal before the world gives you permission. You're not waiting for proof, you're becoming the proof. And in doing so, you're sending a clear, steady message to the field: I'm ready, I've arrived, match me. This is not easy because your environment might still reflect the old you. Your bank account might still echo scarcity. Your relationships might still mirror older patterns. And yet, you're being asked to act from the new frequency anyway. Why? Because that's how energy collapses into form, not through waiting, but through identity. So how do you do it? Start small. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to change the way you move through it, the way you speak about yourself, the way you hold your posture, the way you respond when something beautiful happens. Do you receive it fully, or question if it's real? Every one of these micro-movements tells the field what you believe you deserve. If you were already living your highest reality, how would you wake up tomorrow morning? What would you wear even if no one was watching? How would you breathe, eat, walk, speak? This isn't about aesthetics. It's about energetic posture. Would you still shrink your energy in certain rooms? Would you still apologize for your truth? Would you still abandon your intuition just to maintain harmony? Or would you begin choosing like someone who trusts themselves deeply, like someone who no longer needs to get the thing, because they've already become the version of themselves who has it? You see, when you shift your signal, everything downstream begins to adjust. That's why some people call this quantum shifting, because your choices, subtle as they seem, act like pebbles dropped into the field, creating ripples far beyond what your eyes can see. So instead of asking, when will it happen, ask, how would I move today if I knew it already had? This is where your behavior stops being reactive and starts being magnetic. When your words, tone, and presence begin to match the reality you've been visualizing, you're no longer trying to attract something. You're simply embodying the version of you that's already in alignment. And here's what's wild. You'll notice the field starts responding. People treat you differently. New ideas arrive. Coincidences line up. Not because the universe suddenly favored you, but because your signal got strong enough to pierce through the noise. You stopped leaking energy into someday and started embodying now. This is coherence. You're still inside the field of infinite outcomes, but your signal is pulling reality toward one specific expression, the one you've been tuning to through your emotional steadiness and internal reprogramming. The field has heard you, not through words, but through frequency. And this number is not a reward. It's a resonance echo. It appears not to give you something, but to reflect what you've already become. And here, where most people miss the power of it, they see 777 as a green light to relax, to step back, to say, it's handled now. But this moment isn't about stepping away. It's about anchoring deeper. It's a threshold. And your role isn't to celebrate prematurely or return to passivity. Your role is to hold the signal, stay in the current. Let the field keep sinking to you without interruption. You've heard that manifestations happen all of a sudden, but nothing in the quantum happens suddenly. What feels instant in the physical realm was built slowly in the invisible. 777 marks that tipping point, the subtle balance between intention and inevitability, the place where your reality isn't coming toward you anymore, it's forming around you. And yet, 777 is more than a sign of alignment. It's also an invitation to deepen your presence, to stop searching and start embodying, to notice how your body feels in this moment right now and ask, is this how the version of me who lives that reality would feel? Would they rush? Would they doubt? Or would they trust the structure forming beneath the surface? Because that's what this is, a structural shift. You're not manifesting an outcome. You're rewiring the foundation of who you are, how you think, feel, move, speak, decide. The field is responding to that identity, and the number isn't telling you what's next. It's confirming what's here. And if you feel that, not just conceptually but energetically, if something in you recognizes this message as timely, as precise, as true, then take a breath and let your system receive it. Let your nervous system feel safe in this confirmation. Let your heart soften into this knowing. You're no longer becoming aligned. You already are. The shift isn't coming, it's stabilizing. What you've visualized isn't a dream waiting to be reached. It's a frequency you've finally tuned into. And if you want to make that resonance real, not just within yourself, but in the shared field of everyone watching, then leave a comment below with 777. Not because it's a lucky charm, but because it's a declaration, a quiet way of saying, "Feel it, I remember, I'm aligned." Sometimes numbers are just numbers, but sometimes they're a language, a mirror, a code, a truth you're finally ready to live. Maybe no one told you this, but manifestation is not the art of getting what you want. It's the art of remembering who you are, and every frequency you've been trying to access, abundance, peace, purpose, love, already exists inside that remembrance. It's not outside of you waiting to be earned. It's within you, waiting to be stabilized. The truth is, you've already touched it before. You've had glimpses, flashes of alignment, moments when time dissolved and you felt completely at peace for no apparent reason. Moments when your heart opened without permission, when the right words flowed, when you made a decision that felt like it came from somewhere deeper. Those weren't accidents. They were previews of the self you're becoming more often, and the life that version of you naturally attracts. Quantum manifestation isn't about forcing those moments to happen more frequently. It's about expanding your capacity to stay in them, to make those states your baseline, to become someone who doesn't need to visualize because you're already resonating with what you used to imagine. And that shift isn't something you'll feel overnight, but it is something you'll recognize in the subtle ways life begins to respond. A conversation that feels unusually aligned. A sense of inner calm in the middle of chaos. A decision made without overthinking. These are the signs that your signal is stabilizing, that you're no longer reaching for the field. You're part of it, merged with it, emitting a frequency that no longer negotiates with the past. And this is important because the old identity will still whisper. It'll say, "You're not ready. Who do you think you are? You need proof first." It'll invite you to collapse back into your history. And every time you notice it, you'll have a choice. Do I play out the old timeline again? Or do I hold the new one for just one more breath? That's where your power lives now. Not in how loud you are or how fast you move, but in how consistently you can stay in the energy of already mine. Not to impress anyone, not to trick the field, but because that's who you are now. You're not searching for signs. You're becoming one. You're not performing worthiness. You're embodying it. And the universe doesn't need to be convinced. It simply responds. This is what true manifestation is. Not forcing reality to bend in your favor, but aligning your inner state so precisely that the world has no choice but to reflect it back. Not because you're manipulating matter, but because you've dissolved resistance and clarified your signal. You've removed the static that once stood between your highest self and your current reality. And when that alignment clicks into place, something surprising emerges. Peace. Not adrenaline. Not intensity. A steady, grounded peace. Because you suddenly realize you're not chasing anything anymore. You're allowing. You're receiving. You're watching your own energy return to you. As people, opportunities, clarity, and unexpected beauty. There is no deeper transformation than that. And the more often you return to this state, the more your nervous system learns that it's safe to stay here, to not just touch this frequency, but to live in it, to make this alignment your home. Not because life becomes flawless, but because your coherence is no longer dictated by the external world. You've internalized the field. You trust it, and it mirrors that trust back. So take a breath, a real intentional breath. Let this land in your system, not as new information, but as truth you already knew. Feel your energy soften into the realization that you've already shifted. You're not waiting for a quantum change. You are the quantum change. And if something in this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, if it helped connect a piece that felt just out of reach, then maybe this isn't just content. Maybe it's a mirror, a reflection of who you're becoming, a reminder that the frequency you've been visualizing is not abstract or imaginary. It's vibrational, and you're finally living inside it. If that resonates, if it feels honest in your body, then stay connected to this space. Subscribe not out of obligation, but out of alignment, because this isn't just a channel. It's a frequency. And if your breath slowed, or your energy shifted while reading, you're already tuned in. Here, we're not just watching. We're practicing new timelines. We're not just consuming. We're collapsing possibility into form. We're not just learning. We're remembering. And I'm glad you're here. Let's keep shifting together.